The PR teams worked overtime to call it unmatched charisma and the gold standard of Hollywood romance. They wanted you to believe the chaos was just a natural side effect of two beautiful people being head over heels in love. That is a total fabrication designed to cover up the professional carnage left in their wake. Look at the archival footage from the 2016 junkets or the recent explosive clips from the It Ends With Us tour. You see the twitching eyes and the tight, forced smiles of journalists who realize they have completely lost control of the room. The truth is, when Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively step into an interview together, they aren't there to answer questions. They are there to seize the throne. My take is simple. This isn't accidental couple goals energy. This is a cold, calculated power move designed to humiliate the gatekeepers of traditional media and prove that the stars are the only ones who hold the remote. They turn the professional interview into a private joke, where the host is the punchline. Subscribe to leave your mark in this archive of human folly before the PR machines scrub the internet clean of these uncomfortable truths. It is a total illusion that they are just like us. Look at the physical reality of the room. Ryan leans back with an expensive watch catching the studio lights, while Blake uses a sharp, sarcastic wit to shut down any question that isn't on her personal script. They tag team. One starts a joke, the other finishes it, and the interviewer is left staring at a blank notepad, realizing their pre-approved questions are now worthless trash. Subscribe to Enter the Autopsy Room, where we dissect society's lies and peel back the expensive layers of celebrity branding. Follow the money, and you will see that every chaotic outburst results in millions of free impressions, all while the professional journalists are left looking like stuttering amateurs. You might think it is charming, but if you were the one holding that microphone with trembling hands while two A-listers laughed at your expense, you would realize it is a boardroom execution disguised as a comedy sketch. The microphones are hot, the lights are blinding, and the power dynamic has shifted forever. Now, look at the physical reaction of the crew behind the cameras when the script goes off the rails. The camera operators are sweating under their headsets because they know the schedule is blown to pieces. A 3-minute slot has turned into a 10-minute roast, where the reporter is the only one not laughing. You sitting there on your couch might think this is just high-energy charisma, but look closer at the edges of the frame. You see a publicist in the shadows frantically tapping on a tablet, trying to signal for a cut that never comes because the stars have hijacked the red carpet. This is the consequence of a new era where the celebrity is the platform, the producer, and the judge. The reporter's hand is literally shaking as they try to steer the conversation back to the movie, but Ryan Reynolds has already pivoted to a joke about his gin brand, while Blake Lively punctuates the punchline with a look that says, "Don't you dare interrupt us." This isn't a conversation. It's a hostile takeover of the airwaves. Follow the money and you'll see the trail leads straight to a perfectly timed marketing machine that turns awkwardness into gold. The hidden cause of all this chaos isn't a lack of professionalism. It's a deliberate strategy to make traditional journalists irrelevant. If they can make a professional interviewer look like a bumbling fan, they prove that the old gatekeepers have no power left. Look at the way the light hits the jewelry on Blake's fingers as she dismissively waves off a question about the film's heavy themes. She's not just being difficult, she's protecting the brand. She's ensuring that the only clips that go viral are the ones where she looks dominant, witty, and untouchable. Subscribe to this channel right now to get the raw truth before the big studios buy out the narrative and bury these moments forever. Now, think about the press junket for It Ends With Us. The internet was on fire with rumors of a feud. But what did we actually see on toward their own personal projects? It's a bait and switch. They give you the messy interview you crave, so you don't notice they've completely bypassed the movie's actual talking points. You there? Don't be fooled by the smiles. These are two of the smartest business minds in Hollywood working in total sync. Every accidental comment is a brick in a fortress they've built around their private lives and their public profits. When the cameras finally cut to black, the reporter doesn't get a thank you. They get a cold walk to the exit while the power couple checks their phones to see how many millions of views the chaos has already racked up on TikTok. It's a boardroom execution disguised as a comedy sketch, and the media is the one bleeding out on the floor. Look at the physical distance in the room. In the 2016 interview that recently resurfaced, Blake doesn't even look at the reporter. She talks over her. She talks around her. It's a total illusion that this is about nerves or bad timing. It's about hierarchy. By refusing to play the game, they've invented a new one where they are the only ones who know the rules. Subscribe to join the circle of those who see through the smoke and mirrors of the elite PR machines. Look at the sweat on the interviewer's forehead compared to the bone-dry, perfect makeup on the stars. That's the physical reality of the power gap. It's not just a bad day at the office for a journalist. It's the sound of an entire industry losing its grip on the people who used to need them. The truth is, the stars don't need the press anymore. They have you, they have the algorithm, and they have the cold, hard ambition to turn every microphone into a weapon of mass promotion. Don't look at the smiles. Look at the eyes. They aren't looking for a connection. They're looking for the next headline. Look at the numbers on the screen. While the internet was screaming about Blake being a mean girl, the box office was exploding. Millions of dollars poured in every single day. This wasn't a PR failure or a series of unfortunate mistakes. It was a hostile takeover of the entire news cycle. Justin Baldoni hired a high-priced crisis PR manager just to stay in the conversation, while Blake wore floral dresses and talked about her hair products. She wasn't avoiding the heavy topics of the film because she was scared of the backlash. She was ignoring them because she had the power to dictate the narrative. The physical evidence is right there in the seating charts of the premieres. Blake and her star-studded crew stood on one side of the room, while the director stood on the other, isolated in his own frame. It's a visible fracture that only served to make the movie the most talked-about project on the planet. You might want to stick around here if you're interested in watching how these industry giants actually pull the strings behind the scenes. Forget the "be kind" hashtags and the fan theories about hurt feelings. The brutal reality is that the film crossed $300 million in global sales, while the controversy was at its peak. Blake and Ryan didn't lose their footing. They won. The cost wasn't their career or their reputation. It was just a few bridge burnings with people they never intended to work with again anyway. They traded a likable image for a profitable empire, and the bank doesn't care about the awkward silence in a junket room. The physical evidence isn't hidden in secret emails. It's right there on the final screen credits and the massive profit margins. Ryan Reynolds didn't just help out. Every time you saw Blake smiling while the internet was burning her down, you were watching someone who knew exactly where the money was going. She didn't need the director's approval because she had the producer's power and the box office receipts to back it up. Those awkward press junkets weren't a failure of her PR team. They were a signal to the old Hollywood guard that the old rules are dead. If you have the brand, you don't need the behavior. You don't need to play nice with the press when you can just go over their heads directly to the fans. Only the mentally resilient made it this far into the video. Hit subscribe, Survivor. You are the only ones who see the gears turning while everyone else is distracted by the floral prints and the gossip. The movie didn't just survive the scandal. It thrived on it. The mean girl narrative was just noise for the masses, while the couple secured their position as the most untouchable duo in the business. They didn't care about the bad reviews or the TikTok think pieces. They cared about the bank notifications. The brutal reality is that professional courtesy and a director's vision were all sacrificed for a $300 million payday. She didn't lose the room. She bought the building. The reality of the situation is even colder than the rumors. While people were busy counting Blake's floral dresses, the power balance in Hollywood shifted completely. Justin Baldoni wasn't just sidelined. He was physically erased from the promotion cycle of his own film. You saw him standing alone on one side of the theater, while the entire cast huddled around the Reynolds lively powerhouse on the other. That wasn't an accident. It was a visual execution of a career. Blake and Ryan turned a domestic drama movie into a corporate takeover. They didn't ask for permission to edit the film. They just did it. They used their own money and their own editors to cut a version that favored their brand over the director's vision. The truth is that the industry is watching this happen and taking notes. It's a message to every director out there. Your vision means nothing when a bigger brand enters the room. Look at the red carpet photos from the New York premiere. You won't find a single frame of the director and the lead actress in the same shot. That is a calculated move to show who owns the space. While Justin was talking about the serious themes of the book, Blake was talking about floral arrangements and her hair care line. It was a total tonal disconnect that should have killed the movie, but instead, it fueled the machine. They didn't just win the box office, they won the narrative by refusing to acknowledge the man who actually hired them. Look at the cast's Instagram pages. It was total radio silence toward Justin while they showered Blake with praise. That is what a professional freeze-out looks like in the digital age. They didn't need to say a word because the physical distance between them spoke louder than any PR statement ever could. This wasn't a misunderstanding or a clash of creative styles. It was a hostile takeover where the director was locked out of his own editing room. Ryan Reynolds didn't just show up to support his wife. He showed up to protect the investment. He understood that the movie was a massive vehicle for their family brand, and he wasn't going to let a director's artistic integrity get in the way of a $300 million payday. This is how the new Hollywood works. And if you think this is the last time a power couple hijacks a studio production, you aren't paying attention. Subscribe to prepare your mind for what's coming next year, because the playbook has officially changed, and the next takeover is already in motion. You need to see the moves before they happen. The fallout from this wasn't about feelings or mean girl energy. It was about who owns the final cut. The final version of the movie that played in theaters wasn't the director's cut. It was the Reynolds cut. The industry saw a producer actor bypass the entire creative structure of a studio film and get away with it. They didn't care about the awkward silence on the set or the crew members who had to pick sides. They cared about the result. Every time the internet called her a mean girl, the box office numbers climbed higher. Every time a video of a tense interview went viral, another ticket was sold. They turned hate-watching into a business strategy. The truth is that they used the controversy as a smokescreen to hide the fact that they had essentially stolen the film from its creator. The physical evidence is in the credits, the lack of joint press, and the way the